Hello, hello. Wow, to think all of a sudden we're back. New and exciting times. I do not even know what to say, basically. Man, this feels weird. Feels weird being back here. I've forgotten everything. I've basically forgotten everything that has to do with what this means. But man, it sure does feel awesome to be here again. Wow. Just freaking wow. I think I kind of have to settle my nerves and then, figure out what the devil this is all about. We are back, and it feels strange. Man. I barely remember when I was online last. It feels so off. Guess might have a few pieces of mail with the message of the day being that. Yeah. Hey, man. Fantastic to see you. It's weird being back all of a sudden. Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I tried to count. I'm on the impression that it's what is it? Is it let's see here. 2 months roughly, maybe a little bit more along those lines, because we took over the keys on April 1st, and from that point on, basically has been one long grind of another kind, I think. So must be 2 months, or maybe even a bit more than 2 months. So, wow. And when today started, I wasn't even expecting to all of a sudden find myself here. But I dropped off the kids at school, and it's one of those days where half the offices is out today because it was a national holiday yesterday, so they took today off to get a long weekend. I didn't have enough vacation days saved up, so figured. But driving home from dropping the kids off, I was like, okay, it's gonna be a slow morning at work, and all of a sudden everybody was out of the house. I'm like, maybe now is actually the opportunity to get back on, see if things work. It was even just turning on the computer, like, does the thing still work? And initially when I pushed the power on, nothing happened. I was like, oh, maybe I turned off the switch on the back of the power. Yeah, so I had to sort of double check that all the cables were installed correctly. But yep, now we're here. Amazing. It feels fantastic and weird at the same time, but I'm sure that'll pass quickly. How are you? How's life? I've been trying to keep tabs on what's been happening, but it always loses a bit here and there. Can't always keep fully track of what's been going down, but yeah. Let's see here. I think I might as well just be able to jump onto my chamois. I've been doing a little bit of work here and there. Not much news, to be honest. Well, that doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? I mean, no news is good news. Isn't that what they say? I've been squeezing in a little bit of time here and there, which has netted me to level 35. See if I 35. And I've continuously been contemplating whether I should continue on the chamois or I should start leveling my druid. But as I change opinion on about every day or so, I figured I might as well for now stick with it. It's actually weird even just playing on a big screen. You know, I've had a few opportunities to play which have been on my my laptop, which despite having a big screen, all things considered, like a 17-inch, it's still weird all of a sudden being back on a full screen. Yeah, but no, fantastic to be here. New settings, new surroundings, new background. Work in progress, I figure, but we'll get there. Where was it? I am... Oh! I was about to say, why is the... Druid is still 36, nice. I figure I might as well Hearthstone. I might as well. I can just as well run back and then fly. I was in the wrong zone. That's why. And what's the status on your druid? Is it work in progress or has it been put on hold for now? What's the deal? Coffee. Raining outside, so slow progress. Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, I think that's the positive of having a main. You can sort of pick it up whenever you feel like it. Despite having managed to squeeze in, I would say maybe 1-2 hours a week for the past month, maybe, which has been very little. It's at least I've sort of retained rested XP just from that amount. Lack of motivation, need to get the 4 dual spec, get to heal dungeons. Yeah, I can follow. I can follow for sure. But I think I would go so far as to say that lack of motivation is the killer. So it's so relevant to find whatever motivates, because if you don't, then it just becomes tedious, right? So it's so important that you can find a way to sort of set yourself up for it. And if you can't, then there's not a lot of point. Then it'll have to come later. But I think also, I can't say for certain, but it's not that there's a lot of content available, but at the same time, all of a sudden you've gone through everything that exists within this patch or this expansion, and it can be maybe a bit challenging sometimes to keep going, right? Started grid 2 setup process on the druid yesterday, imported the profile model with a couple changes. Okay, nice. Was that working well for for the hunter as well? I have the built-in raid frames in the LVUI, which basically, for now at least, have suited anything I needed, both for healing or for Lots of memories surfacing, seeing that, yeah, from back in the day. Yeah, that's nice. Cool. Nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I think the good rate frames, especially for use grid when healing. But yeah, but I mean, good rate frames are so important, especially for the whole healing part, right? But as sometimes it's nice just to have the overview anyway for everything, regardless of what role you're playing. But see if I can remember. See if I can remember how to play. I mean, I barely could play it before, but now. Just mentioned in reference to the motivation thing, seeing that hectic rate frame action made me want to heal him more. Okay, cool. And it's nice that it's nice that it has that appeal to you. I mean, just, I think, ultimately, it's about getting the blood pumping in some manner, right? There's got to be something that excites you. So if that tickles your fancy, then that's awesome, right? It could be, it's the way to go. I remember, I mean, I had a lot of, considering the fact that we've been playing this game for 20 some years. I had a lot of reservations against healing for a long time. It was just scary. I really felt that it was something that I was incapable of, that my reactions simply were not on point enough to be able to do so. I'd say my first healing experience then, when I at some point on figured that, okay, let's start working on what the devil this actually is. Learning to heal. I started with the druid, which of course has so many hots that you could really heal preemptively. So it was a good way to get started. That was nice. But yeah, it was challenging. Sometimes the whole the intimidation maybe of the amount of information and everything else sort of taking place. Straight to the deep end, yeah. Okay, so we made it to the right zone. That's a good start, I figure. Let's see if so what have you been leveling as a feral till now? Oh, sorry, just taking in the morning coffee. Feral, yeah, okay, yeah. So feral till 40, and then dual spec to get the resto as well. And then depending on if it's dungeons, you can heal, or you can basically do feral or solo play as well. Back in WoW was balanced, that was pain. Yeah. I mean, balance was hard until level 40 as well, because you really lacked innervate. the mana regeneration wasn't good, but yeah. But I mean, you know, Space Chicken is just entertaining in itself. Oh, do I really want to do that? Umkin, I used to say, yeah, exactly. I remember where I dropped off last. Being on PvP server made it worse. Yeah, I can imagine. I all of a sudden remember where I dropped off. I was doing the Grim Totem thing. And then I ended up hearthing out because I knew I was going to be a while before I got back. So I didn't do the escort quest. I figure I'll have to grind my way back up the mountain. Start the escort quest. The tricky thing about Rested XP, you know, in general, just the add-on, is that there are so many situations that if you out-level the content and then you look to skip ahead some of the steps, there's so many like pre-quests and things all of a sudden that you really start missing, and it goes on for such a long time. I mean, we're talking, when I hit level 31, I think it was, I ended up healing Scarlet Monastery for like a full level, I think it was. And so all of a sudden I was 32. And when I got back into soloing, yo man, same issue with Psycho, Rested XP have a catch-up option. Like, I mean, you can basically just, you know, browse ahead and then select the opportunity to start then, you know, at some step further down the line. The thing is mostly that it just feels that there are so many different pre-quests that all of a sudden you're lacking, right? So you can skip ahead, and there's nothing wrong with that. It works perfectly, but the amount of quests, I would say, for the next at least a level, maybe more, that you identify little by little that you're unable to do, is actually fairly high. Makes sense, of course, but it's sometimes, oh, there's a lot of repercussions that you didn't necessarily have in place when you started. I had there was like all of a sudden the other day I say the other day, I'm not even sure how long ago it was. I was doing some of the work in Shimmering Flats, and I was down here killing these scarabs. And, you know, I needed 5 of one kind and 5 of another kind. And I'd been at it for 5-10 minutes maybe. And I wasn't paying full attention, that's for sure. All of a sudden I noticed the fact that I don't have the quest. I'm not on it. It was just, you know, the next natural step in what I was doing. But it was one of the pre-quests that I didn't have, so the add-on hadn't automatically picked it up when I handed in the other quest. So yeah. I don't know if it does just deal with it. We miss something, just skip from another thing. Yeah. But, you know, let's say Psycho has a quest sync option, send you back. Okay, yeah. No, I don't think actually, I haven't seen that from Rested, but I'm still, generally speaking, okay, this is actually, there's something completely off here. I'm not even supposed to be here either. I'm not paying attention at all. I just noticed that this is part of the 2030 guide, so I am supposed to be somewhere entirely different. If I'm not mistaken, did I get to STV? Well, we'll have to see what... I'm actually so far off the mark right now. I don't actually remember how far I got. We'll have to see. I believe... Was I in Desolace? I think I was in Desolace. And how far did I get in Desolace? Wow, this is... I was... Oh yeah. I was there. My God. Okay. We're maybe back on track. Anywho, let's skip ahead 13 zones or 13 levels. Usually, yeah. Yeah, it's fairly keen at identifying that you don't have the pre-quest, so it jumps ahead. But I mean, even now you can see, you know, it if it doesn't remember where you were last, it will even effectively get caught up on something that was, you know, level 22 to 30 content. So, yeah. Tricky times, but, yeah, no. Such a... At least I would have been able to kill the mobs, I figure, you know. Anywho, it's fantastic seeing everybody. What a pleasure to be back. It's so weird all of a sudden. Feels kind of like riding a bike, sitting here again, but at the same time, it's been something along the lines of 2.5 months. Feels weird, really weird. New surroundings. Same old me. At least the coffee's good. Cheers. And after 2.5 months off, at least I now have space behind me. I'm not being it's not breathing. The amount of moving boxes is not breathing down my neck behind me here. In other news, your ceiling lights, I guess, flicker on cam. Yeah, I noticed. I could see it on the. I'm looking to replace them one of these next few days. It's because the new office right now is in the part of the house which used to be the old stable. So it's basically I'm sitting in an old pen which used to house a horse or something, and all the light fixtures are, you know, good old fashioned, like the long, very long tube. Halogen tubes, and I think it's sort of the frequency with which their lighting is impacting with the camera. So, but I'm looking to swap them out. I'm not CCFL. Yeah, could well be. So I'm looking to swap them out, put in something else that's a bit more. I would like, you know, they're not strategically placed either for giving sufficient lighting where I really want it. So I have a lot of lighting fixtures left over from other places, so I plan to do some modifications. The kids also, there's a big table right to the left of me where the kids can sit and like do, you know, creative work, puzzles and draw and things like that. And we were gonna install a lamp directly above that table as well, just for them. So. Good setup for audio, yeah. So yeah, so this is the if nothing else, this is the setup for the next, let's say, 6 to 8 months. I think it might shelf behind you, great for dispersing sound waves if you have various knickknacks. Yeah, there's also actually you know, this is a straight up just an table from IKEA. Which I basically do have the option of, you know, raising it or lowering it. And then there's these panels installed around the edges on the table as well, which are the have like a sound muffling setup. So I think that it should be possible actually to avoid, you know, the acoustics in here being too horrible. But yeah, this is the installation for probably for the remainder of the year, and then if all goes well, I think that we might be tearing out the entirety of the interior of the stables, and then casting a new floor, and then maybe look to create some rooms, not necessarily rooms for living, but maybe just to have, let's say, added capabilities out here for like a mud room, potentially like a a more up to date office, guest quarters, something like that. Because if we convert it fully into housing, then you have to start paying additional housing taxes from it, because it gets considered as actual square meters used for your house. And I think we want to avoid that, because you can say there's a lot of square meters. It would be expensive to do so. So I think we might just consider having it for the opportunity to use on like an ad hoc basis. So I think that's the plan. Let's see. But things here are moving quickly enough that a lot of the plans that I feel we have 1 week are different the next. So yeah, tons to do for sure. I'm sure we can get into a lot of entertaining talks about some of the things we have planned for the future as well. At some point on, I figure we'll have to do like a tour of the properties as well, tour of the grounds. But it could quickly be quite a long tour, actually. Just walking around the perimeter of the property would take, I don't know, we could probably spend at least 30 minutes. So yeah, and I figure if I mount a camera on the ATV, it's gonna be kind of hard to see or hear anything. So that might not even do the trick. So yeah, okay, let's see. We're pretty much now. We made it back to the actual zone. Hey, actual everything. Might as well flask up. Now that I have it. I'll refresh this while I'm at it. Oh yeah. So yeah, but how's life? How has the rating been going? Been getting any decent gear? I basically, it coincided so I don't know, tragically, if that's a word we should maybe use, with the fact that MC had basically just come out when I sorry, 1 second. Okay, we're off to a good start here. And they're bloody level, I don't know. Wow. Yeah, so it coincided so unfortunate that what MC came out pretty much just before I had to jump off, right? So ouch. That was, maybe I left too late. Oh, okay. I really need to pay more attention. Okay. No, but MC came out. What did it come out? No, it was out before, but we weren't up and rating yet, and so effectively I didn't. Yeah. But what I meant to say was, I've actually not even been in a single raid yet at all. It coincided so miserably. So yeah, I'll have some catching up to do at some point. Yeah, so that's the thing. I'll have to do that. And hopefully at least manage like a... They're also level 38. It's quite high, actually. But at least manage once a week raid that could be broadcast, so to say. And then I'll See what else I can squeeze in here and there. Okay, well, let's try again. See if I can avoid pulling the entirety of the graveyard all at once. And at the same time, there was a guy looking for Rexar, so trying to type. Got some pieces, 3 pieces of tier 1 using 2-3 of the set key. Oni had yesterday an ancient pit of... Nice. Congratulations. I will live vicariously through you until I maybe get an opportunity to get some stuff as myself. I think actually you can say the only thing that I really am hoping to get is Rockdelar is the build. That's the only thing I would really want at this point in time. Fun to spend so much time getting a ranged weapon upgrade and then get to do an elite solo quest on So yeah, so that's sort of the if I manage to get that before TBC comes out, the bow, then I'm basically fully content. I have gotten through Thunder Fury in the past, you know, so the whole legendary thing, and then I figure for TBC, on the one hand, I would, of course, the legendaries are always attractive, right? Thoridal, I've had that in the past as well, but that's just such an amazing weapon. At the same time, I'm contemplating very heavily that I'll probably start off by leveling the Hunter because it's the one that's available, but I think I will be swapping to maining Paladin at some point during the expansion. So investing in Thoridal on me would not make sense because it would be such a complete waste of an item on myself if I'm not maining it. So I think there's a lot of considerations in terms of how things are going to look. Let's see. At least you can say you did it. Same for the tier 0.5 set. Haven't started getting it yet. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can follow that. That could also easily be a thing at some point. But yeah, I think we're back to the concept of it's always good to have goals, whether they're big goals or little goals. If you have to have something to work towards, you know, that's what keeps you around and invested. So anything works in that regard, and you know, it doesn't always have to be some impressive milestone. It can just as well be a little thing, you know, whether it's grinding to rank 14 or it's something else. So I think that's relevant to keep having something to work towards. And so, you know, you work towards it. If you achieve it, then you set yourself something else. 38 is, you know, you can feel the fact that 38 is a level that's a bit challenging to manage. They don't go down quickly, that's for sure. Yeah, but let's see. Yeah, so a lot of undecided things for the future, I think. From what I could, if let's say if the preparation, if the Dark Portal, if the whole pre-launch thing is similar to what it normally is, then from the time that they make the Blood Elf race available until the Dark Portal opens, you usually have about 2 weeks. And because it's one of the TBC pre-patches, the XP rates have changed. So it could be that if I, you know, had the time, I could effectively level up a new class, new character in those 2 weeks. I doubt it, but it's on paper it's possible. So I could basically be ready to main Paladin from the launch of TBC, which could work well. I mean that could make it possible to. That might be the time to get my Warlock up. Yeah, so I figured that I could. My intention was to make like purchase list of some of the BOE items, that would be cheap on the auction house by then. So you could basically acquire BOEs that could get you from level 1 to, let's say, 50, 60 for not a lot of gold on the auction house. So you could basically just mail it to yourself and then just recurringly keep optimizing your stat sticks to speed your process along. That might be a thing, but yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm unsure. I'm unsure when I want to swap over. It might also be that it's gonna be more a case of I'll see how far I get in terms of trying to progress towards leveling up a new character. But if I don't manage in time, then I'll just start off with a hunter. I just do that every once in a while. Yeah, exactly. But could go out and identify some of the items that would be, effective upgrades that might be super cheap, and then just stack up on those. 1 second here. I'll see what's cooking here. Just the missus checking in. I'll have to respond later. She has to appreciate the fact that I'm super busy with something more important. Am I gonna pull that one? I'm inclined to. Yeah, the cheap stuff. Although I did splurge and buy a face smasher. Nice. Cool. I'm contemplating a swap at level 40 to Elemental as my primary spec for the chamois, and then dual spec Resto, because then everything I have is a caster gear. I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. So I haven't splurged on anything big. I'm still rocking the Corpse Maker from Razorfen, just because I was fortunate to get it, but I haven't actively pursued anything else. There is the opportunity to go into Scarlet Monastery and try to get the mace instead. But I figure I don't know if I get to the point where I might actually do SM again at some point. You should share the gear basically. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most of the gear will be the same or have the same stats, so should be fairly doable. But I haven't been chasing upgrades specifically because we're getting. I say that it's still 5 levels off, but yeah, let's see. I didn't figure the need to splurge on anything at this point in time. Just basically managed to get from here to 40 and then see what it looks like. At the same time, it might be that it makes sense to head back into SM and get a lot of the cloth gear before 40, just because, might be some decent upgrades. I do have mostly a healing set as well, just because I did, heal early 30s. So just a full int set for the bigger mana pool. Yeah. So yeah, let's see. I'll see what I figure out. Okay. Yeah. Run to. Yep. Need to run SM as well. Get the healing mace. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's. I figure there's still ample time, it should be, if nothing else, I reckon that it, you don't have to put in a lot of effort to just do a full level, just grinding SM over and over. Yeah. Lots to do, places to go, people to see. Where is the next one that we could effectively hijack? Uldaman and Sedef Mara should all be fun to heal. Yeah, true. Yeah. Mara, especially with all the nature stuff. Yeah, but also, I'd say the amount of gear that starts becoming available in the higher level dungeons, a bit more versatility, differences in stats starts becoming more of a thing, right? So there's more incentive as well, I feel, because there's a higher likelihood of getting things that slowly but surely start to be of interest, right? So I think that's also something that's worthy of the consideration, that the incentive becomes higher for that purpose. So, last of the coat of bones. Come on. On the other hand, talking about the fact that I haven't splurged for gear, I can start to feel that the damage on Corpse Maker is starting to drop off now. I did get it at level 29, yeah, or started using it from 29. So even just the 6 levels since then have, at this point in time, you have a feeling that there's a drop off starting to take place in terms of damage. Ooh, upgrades. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Go gadget. So what did I get there? Boots. Stamina spirit. Yep. Alrighty. I would say this is effectively the whole purpose of the game, isn't it? Gear upgrades. Every time you get a gear upgrade, it feels like something worthwhile. It doesn't have to be a big upgrade. Any upgrade is just the chasing better gear is in combination with getting to level 60, right? But when you get to level 60, half the purpose is gone. So what's left? Chasing gear. More gear. Ooh. Yeah. Let's do that upgrade immediately. Thank you. Okay, level 19. And been holding off for a bit. And then you gotta appreciate faster movement speed. Ghost Wolf for the rescue. Anything to avoid running until level 40. Nice. Big stick. Oh, pretty stuff. Yeah, but all of a sudden, 30 strength, that's a lot, especially from the level that it's available. 32, yeah. Get good value for money. So, let's see what's on the plan here. I'm just thinking, looking ahead. So, we're in Desolace for a short while still to come, and then we're heading back to... No, not really heading back. Heading to Stranglethorn. STV. Getting closer to STV. This is one of those situations where you can at least appreciate the fact that you're on the PV server, right? STV becomes less of a tedious chore to get through. Heart of the Wild, when I have 5 for 5 in there, I think it's plus 20% strength. That's nice. That adds up. That ramps up quickly. Awesome. It annoys me, low practical annoyance, but the fact that anytime you interact with a NPC, you drop out of form, small things, but still, just like I have to spend valuable seconds of my time jumping back into Ghost Wolf. Go. Shadow Prey, here we come. You can say again, we're back to the most positive thing to take away from the fact that my attendance has been so irregular is the fact that I'm, been rocking full rested basically from every time I log in. Every time I log in, I've been back to full rested. And when I've managed to chip away at some questing and have gotten a bit of progress, maybe I've spent like 50% of the rested, so it's been easy to fill up again. Let's see what we can find. Clam bait. Maybe I should see if I have some things that I can sell off just to free up some space, especially some of these old ones. Alrighty. No, it's not gonna work anyway. I might as well. Okay, so let's see here. Oops. Bloodbelly fish. Alrighty. Back we go. you gotta wonder, when the game was developed, if somebody just said, let's develop a zone. Let's make sure that on multiple occasions throughout the player's experience in this zone, that they have to run from one end to the other and then back again, You can say, of course, WoW has been ahead of its time because even 20 odd years ago, they were already planning for the ability to make sure that you get your 10,000 steps a day. But still, right? It was like, let's make sure that at isolated points throughout the player's leveling experience, there's a lot of quests in the same area where there's a lot of, it's effective for them. They don't have to move far. And then every so often, we're going to put a stick in the wheel, make sure that we send them running to say hi to somebody for the purpose of saying hi, and then run all the way back again. Just for the hell of it. And then they've sat around. Let's see here. They just weren't thinking properly, or multiple quest designers doing things. Yeah, maybe they just went in 4 different directions. So they've all, or maybe so just you develop some quests in the northeastern quadrant, and I'll do the northwestern, and then we'll tie it all together in the end. Like there's a lot of unfinished stuff, yeah. Probably the case, yeah. On the other hand, I'd say, I think it's, at least for Danes, Danish people, one of the things we do best is complain, right? We can always find something to complain about, whether it's the weather or, something else. So I'll conclude quickly for myself, if the biggest issue you have in life or in this game has to do with inconvenience of running, then you'll survive. So I figure that's where we are. See, I figure I will run to Bibli, and then I'm gonna jump out and get a coffee. Another coffee. One more. I've identified the fact that there's, at some point I want to put some stuff on this wall here, and then maybe if I actually put something on the wall at some point, I can always turn the camera a little bit so there's more of an angle that way. One of the things I came across recently that I'm really thinking about doing at some point when I get around to it is that I found all the old my old hard copies of WoW. So Classic, or Vanilla as it is, and TBC and Wrath. I found all of my boxes with all the DVDs inside and everything, or the CDs maybe even. And I've been thinking about at some point framing them. So doing one frame with all the CDs and manuals from each of the expansions, and line them up here one by one. And then basically what I want to do is make sure that I leave room on top of them, over the where I will hang the frames, so that I can start saving up to get a Frostmourne replica, so I can hang that. So I have like the Frostmourne hanging on the wall. Kind of expensive. So yeah, again, it's about setting goals. So I can plan for that. Take me a day and an age, but still. Ooh, empty slot. Nice. My first next slot. We are going places. Anywho, while here, ideal location, I'm going to step out for 2.5 minutes, grab coffee, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Sorry about that. Let's get back on track. Coffee, check. Back to gaming, check. It is horrible weather outside. No, maybe not horrible. It is pouring down outside right now. So what better time to be back here and just playing games. Feels so wrong having Xandar or Dragonslaying in Ren. Huh? Okay, let's see what we can do. It would seem as if someone has been here. I see dead people. Dead orcs. I gotta remember to not burn your CD on Flame Shock, but save it for interrupts. Felt sworn. Ouch. Dual wielding. So it seems as if, you know, with the let's see if I can keep my train of thought here. So it seems that with the whole OnlyFans thing going down the drain, that, you know, the amount of WoW streamers that are around at this point in time is fairly low, right? It's at maybe it really went from peaking to basically the opposite, it feels like. Majority of them just up and stopped for now. Not as many, but OnlyFans technically still goes on. Amphi is the new... Okay. Okay, so there's still some action. Maybe I just missed it. Stuff check. Okay, so there's still some activity. Then I probably just missed it, but I don't think I've ever really watched anything from Amphi anyway, so maybe that's why I haven't been keeping tabs. I mean, I guess it's positive that there's still some people going. I'm amazed by the fact that I'm seeing guild recruitment happening online, where people are basically, you know, recruiting for TBC. I think that's bordering on insane, right? So, yeah, looking for a guild to raid with, come TBC, you know, join us. I'm like, wow, is is a placeholder guild for something that takes place in I don't know, 6 to 9 months. That's insane. There was a dude from a guild in our dungeon run. His whole guild is offline waiting. Yeah, I mean that's just tragic, isn't it? I mean, you could at least might as well be doing something until then, right? I mean, I just find it a shame that you are waiting for something else to come instead of enjoying what you have available now. But yeah, I mean, I've seen several already. It just surprises me. Tragic in my opinion. Just because, you know, why not? Yeah, why not appreciate what you have? It just, I guess you're waiting for a long time as well, right? I mean, there's some probability that people have done something else, gone another way before it actually comes out, if that's what you're waiting for. Schlingle. No, I have Schlingle Inc. Guild has a more interesting playstyle though. I know, never heard of them. Okay, so let's see here. I'll have to look up Schlingelink. Basically semi-hardcore. If you die, you go through a guild event ritual where you explain why, what, how you'll improve, etc. Guys standing around yelling shame. No groups outside guild mailbox and okay, yeah. So it's sort of one of the it's somewhat similar to some of the initial OnlyFans concept before the hardcore servers actually came out. Okay. Yeah. Well, I can follow that. I think I can appreciate people who have found a niche and who have put something in place to either make it entertaining, right, for themselves and others. I think that's cool. When we had when I still played on private servers, I played predominantly on Wrath expansion, and we you can say that it was right after the whole it was right after the initial classic servers had started to come out, so right after the iterations of TBC and Wrath and so on had basically just run the first course. There was some of the same people who did the OnlyFans ones while they were on, was it Cataclysm? Basically, they were on Cataclysm expansion, but they went back and did a Project 80 where they basically scaled down and did the raids from TBC and Wrath. but with fewer people, but with the same item level restrictions and the same level restrictions as what was initially the case. But then the server I was playing on, which was a Wrath server, we basically ended up sort of emulating the Project 80 concept by sort of enforcing like a hard cap for ourselves, where we said, well, you know, we're gonna start a fresh character, level it to 80, and then we're going to get ready to do Naxxramas, and you can only have green and blue gear. So you could say all the content, everything was available because we were on Wrath expansion, but the server had been at the same phase for years on end. But we set a sort of a limitation for ourselves, so we did that, and then after we had been farming Nax for like 2.5 months, I think, we basically allowed people. We sort of decided to then launch the next phase. So we said, okay, we'll transition to the next phase, which will be, no, it was Nax, and it was Eye of Eternity, because that was also based on the item level gear that dropped. That was the same phase. So we sort of did our own phase rollout. Was actually entertaining, good fun. We had a lot of fun with it, and sort of slowly but surely we rolled out our own release of all the content. So we made it. I think we spent 15 months in total working our way through Wrath. Little by little, so that was kind of enjoyable, because there was always like a limitation on what you could. I mean, when we didn't raid on non-raid nights, you could do whatever. You could put on your full bisque gear if you had it. You could PvE, PvP. But when we did the Project 80 raid night, it was always with a lot of these in restrictions enforced. It was actually really cool. People were super invested. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it's still more fun doing it. Let's say, in a, I was about to call it a live environment, right? Here, where there's a natural enforcement on all the restrictions. But yeah. The thing was, it was very much dictated simply by item level. So effectively what we always said was that, because some of the tricky things were, if you compared it to how it was initially, then you had something like Forge of Souls, Pit of Sauron, and Halls of Reflection, which came out fairly late, expansion-wise, a late patch, but which they all had gear that would give you catch-up mechanics for endgame raiding, because the item level that they dropped on normal mode was 219, which was effectively gear that was on par with Ulduar. But patch-wise, they offset each other so much that it didn't make sense. But sort of by putting in a guideline that said it's the item level that sort of dictates what you're allowed to do, all of a sudden meant that you could allow people to access Forge of Souls, Pit of Sauron fairly early in the internal phasing, because it was on par gear-wise with something that made sense. So I feel it worked out fairly okay. Let's see here. Log resting on a barrel. I think I have to go down first. I think at some point on, especially similar to now, where you're on the same patch, there's nothing new happening. Trying to find these little quirks that you can do, to keep it fun is some of what the appeal is about. I want to consider at some point that we, that we take a night off for simply doing like a Hogger level 1 raid Hogger. See how many level 1 characters we need to actually maybe kill Hogger, or maybe see how many can survive just because it could be, something else to do. Okay, so let's see here. So I have to do all kinds of things. Thank you, water breathing potion. Autobiographer, yay. So despite the fact that I've been away for 2 months, at least I'm still keeping on point with my jumping every time I don't know what else to do. I've just surpassed 2,000 jumps. So we're still on point for that. That's nice. Some things never change. Oh, you have to open it. So, let's see, do I have to go in there as well? I still haven't gotten that add-on. I've ended up trimming the amount. Reload time started to turn up. Yeah, I can follow. I think that I'm in a place right now where I think my computer's still so new that it's not impacting me significantly, but at the same time it's a delicate balance. There's a lot of the functionality that add-ons give that I like. At the same time, it starts to clutter at some point, and I really hate that as well. So figuring out what you need, what is what is nice to is always, an act. Game runs fine otherwise by enabling like Questy adds so much. Yeah, I can follow you. It's because so many of the add-ons are it's just so convenient. And at the same time, I'm sure we could get by just fine without it, but it's easier when you have it. That, isn't that essentially what it comes down to? I mean, I remember we're back to, good old days when we, we're talking 2005-06 when TBC was out. We raided Karazhan without like a threat add-on. So there was no way to know if you were over aggroing the tank. And the only guideline that we had internally was wait for the tank to drop 3 sunders on the boss, and then you can start damaging. Right? That was the only guideline we had. It was like that was basically the metrics we had for when is it go, and it. In broad terms, it worked. It worked decently, So I was like, you can get by with much. It's just convenience because we're so used to now having everything available, DBM timers, all that. Back in the day, you had to spend more time being attentive to some of all the different animations. Okay, if the boss raises his right arm, then he's about to drop thunder, whatever, all these things, right? And I think that there was a flair to that. There was some degree of attentiveness that in some aspects has gone away now. I mean, even if you look at, I saw that the retail, they were talking about wanting to address some of this by limiting some aspects of add-ons, right? And integrating some things on some level so that you could counter somewhat of all these add-ons that just pile up, right? I mean, if you look at the professional raiders and you look at the ones who do the MDI and all, it's I can barely look at their screens because there's so much I'm impressed by the fact that they can process so much information that they have on screen. Um, Even just as a bystander watching the broadcasts and seeing the amount of things they have on their screen is enough to completely overwhelm me. I don't get how they manage, but yeah, yeah. There's an arms race between the Boss Mechanic developers and Debian. Yeah, and it's I'm contemplating whether or not it would be fun to try and create a situation where you encourage the limitation of, let's say, raid add-ons. If you, maybe it's more like if we get to a point where we can, let's say, let's just use Karazhan as an example. If we feel comfortable raiding Karazhan, I assume it's, we're talking a 20-year-old game. I'm sure we can get by. But whether it would be fun at some point to start challenging yourself by let's say enforcing some degree of limitations on yourself when you raid, just for the hell of it. Would that be something that would bring something extra to say, it's gotten to be too easy, and it's playing blindfolded might not be the way to go. Playing with one arm behind your back might not be the way to go. But then, considering limitations in terms of what type of add-ons do you use? Maybe you're not allowed to use the threat meter just for the hell of it, because it will create situations where somebody actually dies just due to over aggro. And haha, shit happens. Maybe it creates a fun situation instead. I don't know. It's just it's so easy to create a situation where things, again, we're back to the whole, if it just becomes tedious, if you just log on to get your weekly raid done and then you log back off again, then the attraction of the game is lacking, right? There has to be more. There has to be something that keeps you entertained. And sometimes if the game in itself doesn't give you that, maybe you create a situation where there's something else that can entice you. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to see. Maybe you can do something. It was funny to read people's reactions to that interview where they talked about the add-ons. We'll incorporate stuff in game and limit information add-ons can get. Add-ons are going away, yeah. Yeah. But I guess it's easy also it's easy to hear what you want to hear, for better or worse. So sometimes you'll be quick to pick up on that one thing you think they said, regardless of if they did or not, and go from there. So I'm gonna go grab a sweater real quick. It's a bit chill in here. 1 second. Okay, so the closest one I could find is a beefy one, but maybe that'll do the trick. There's because this is the old stables, there's actually a heat source in here, but there's no door yet, so the you can't necessarily keep it warm enough in here at the moment. So I need to rig a door so I can at least keep the heat contained within this room. So for right now, it very quickly gets a bit chilly if the weather outside isn't good, because there's nothing really keeping the heat in. Sorry, we're back to the ASMR coffee stream. Welcome back. Guess I also have to refresh my water breathing. I've been thankfully, I've actually managed to find some shiny fish scales along the way without actively chasing them. But last time I checked, I had like 2 or 3, and now I actually have a good amount. So it's nice that you're able to refresh it. Get an infrared type heater. Yeah. Yes. Might also be the thing. But you can say there's, the space right here. Let's say, I don't know. I would assume it's maybe 12 square meters. And there is a radiator. So as soon as I get something to resemble the door in place, it will be, I'm sure it could be fairly easy to keep a decent temperature in here. Also because when the kids potentially are in here instead, it would work for them as well. So it's just there's actually a spare door in the attic. I just haven't. As with everything else around here, it's mostly about there's not enough hours in the day to get through everything. Everything just either takes longer or is gets prioritized for something else. Hey, level 36. So yeah, but little by little, we are going places, getting things done, all that stuff. So yeah, so I'll have to, but I'll consider it. I had a virtual job interview a couple weeks ago where I was sitting here in this room because it was like the only place in the house where I could be sure not to get interrupted. And so about a month ago. So I had like a small heat cannon position on the table that was just blowing a hot air on my legs just to keep my body temperature up just a little bit because it was cold at that point in time. So I was like, okay, how do I make sure that I don't freeze my ass off trying to concentrate? If you start feeling the chill, you're not paying enough attention to what's going on. So yeah. So, okay, let's see here. I did not need to kill those anymore. Getting back into the hang of things is actually, it's like a combination of muscle memory. It's like riding a bicycle. You haven't completely forgotten. At the same time, I can feel that there's, some things that you kind of need to get back into the habit of doing. In the winter, my apartment is a bit chilly as well. I've gotten 400 watt small heater thing. Surprising what difference. Yeah. I can imagine. But we had it when we moved into the new office space at work. There was some issues with the heating as well, and it has such a big impact if you're sitting still and the temperature is not sufficient for what you need. 21 degree minimum, I think, something like that. There were the first few days, I think that like the indoor temperature was maybe 17, 18 degrees. And after like a full day sitting in the office, sitting still, you actually you're like slightly chilled to the bone. And I would get in my car and head home from work, and I would have on like the heat, the heating in the seats, and just like the warm air just blowing, because I was so chilled that I had like a slight headache and all that stuff. So it was just there was such a big impact to being in a position where it was just a bit too cold when you were not active more than I was. If you're just lazily sitting in your chair. But thankfully, it's been fixed. Okay, so 2 more to go, and then we can move on to the next port. Now, because it's summer, it's 26 in the room right now. Gotta get hotter. Yeah. It's easier to deal with too hot than too cold. But at some point, it's not necessarily pleasant either, right? It can, if nothing else, when you get to that point where you're just like sticking to your seat, that's also not fantastic. Okay, one more. Had to change chair from my ergonomic thing to my old IKEA because it has mesh backrest. The other area is fine. Yeah. Yeah. I had a previous chair which had like which was like this fake leather thing, and it was horrible in the summer as well because the quality of the pleather was just it was so horrible that the precipitation was just unreal. I was completely clinging to the backrest when it was hot. It was getting hot outside, and it was like, feeling that you're basically unable to get out of the chair because there's like a vacuum effect that just tries to suck you back in. Was insane. Got a runner. She can actually reach me from there. Ouch. IKEA chair has a pleather seat. Yeah. They really want to run. Bastards. hate it when they run. I hate it when they run. I would say there's one thing I've noticed now versus back in the day, even just when the initial classic servers came out, that the amount of it seems to me that the amount of raids that sort of spontaneously happen through the day is fairly low compared to what it was once upon a time. Now it's always people advertising raids taking place tonight, sign up here. Back in the day, there was never anything like that. It was, starting a raid now, filling, going as soon as we're ready, blah, blah, blah. The amount of planning and preparation that I often feel like goes into these raids is in my opinion, it's excessive. Yeah, nowadays of course you have the functionality, you have Discord signups and you have to have soft res everything, but still it's the essence of, even just part of what the guild was all about. It just seems to me that it's kind of disappearing a little bit. Kids nowadays, or actually the predominant amount of people playing are probably people our age still, so we can't even use that as an excuse. Ouch. Okay, let's see here. All of a sudden, being here right now brings back memories to when I was here with my hunter, at the same point in time, of course, level-wise, but all of a sudden it doesn't feel like that long ago. At least the memory is still fresh, despite the fact that it's been, I don't know, what has it been? Let's say it's been maybe 4 months, maybe? Sorry. 4 months, 5 months. How time flies when you're having fun. At least the playstyle, yeah, playstyle is different for sure. No. Not doing the same thing at all. Guess I'm RPing as my pet cat. Well, you could have you should have named them the same, just for the hell of it then, so that you could attempt to be as indistinguishable as possible. Technically, I still haven't named the cat my hunter has. Okay, well. You can do the whole twinsies. You could name it as your druid chart, yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't have a situation where they would both be present at the same time anyway. So you know, would it matter that much? It's a tribute to the druid. That should be the last of it. Okay, so do I have anything else? I actually need to get to my mailbox and grab some more of my food buffs, it seems. Okay, so let's see here. Lord Kragaru. Excellent. Now you just need to purge the island and then you're good to go. He seemed confused as to what to do. Just like standing there looking. Ouch. The inability to break CC becomes a thing all of a sudden. Just an annoyance. I assume that these Myrmidon Slither Blades are all on a shared spawn point, so even killing the ones we don't need will increase the chances of one of the other name types we need spawning in the same location. Hmm. Nope. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, it's XP as well. If you're moving around the island, you want to avoid getting overrun by more than one at some point anyway. It still makes sense. So do. Okay. Might as well move towards the treasure. We don't need oracles. They're trying to confuse me with the massive amount of unwanted types. Sorceress, nice. Wow, that was a couple big hits all of a sudden. Speedius. Okay. Oh yeah, now I all of a sudden remember One of the ritual things that I haven't remembered since coming back was even just updating all the add-ons to latest patch. There's probably a massive amount of outdated. $32 of them. I just put it to updating now. 32 updates out of 44 add-ons. So, yeah. Fair share. While you've got the CurseForge open, grab the Profession Master. Yeah, I saw you talking about that one. I can do that in a second, yeah. Roger that. Master, let's see here. Profession Master. There we go. Alrighty, it's been queued up now. We'll see how it works once I reboot next time. That's a sea witch. I'm looking for sorcerers. Don't need to interact with it if you just want to. Okay, good to know. Thank you. Works better than Guildbook. Okay, that's nice. Wow, how far can you go? I mean, come on. Yeah, I had the same. Guildbook was the add-on that was triggering my Rested XP add-on, conflicting it massively. So I think I actually already uninstalled it for the same reason. I can't even remember what the icon looked like, but yeah, I think I actually removed it some time ago for the same reason. So yeah. Let's say having an alternative would be awesome. Okay, so let's see. So we need a sorcerer. We got the Myrmidons. Okay, so I need to probably head to the other side of the island, get the last sorceress, and then I can head south and kill the Nagas. See if they respawned. Not yet. Fairly good intake of users with only just mentioning about a few times, not pushing it, but both main enchanters. Nice. Cool. I mean, it's always, it's always a positive when it's something that's beneficial for more than one, and when people sort of look to support it. Should help with enchanters having it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, might as well kill one of these while we wait. It only feels like a few seconds ago I leveled, and all of a sudden now I'm, what? 26% in? There we go. Okay, so now we're just missing the Nagas. Nope. I got that as well. Let's see here. Might as well look to... I've actually gotten fish oil all of a sudden. That's nice. Now I have water walking and water breathing. Nope. I think that's unfair. You can't water walk in ghost wolf form. It comes later in one of the later expansions or whatever, but quality of life not in place yet. Bastards. Made me waste valuable mats. This is nice though, no complaints. Right? Bit more expeditious travel. Now I just need to find the right type of mob. Right now, charge would have been good. Just to cover the distance. Charge. It would be interesting actually to see if you start thinking on, okay, what is the one ability from another class that would benefit you the most if you could pick and choose. Be an interesting case study to see what is the ability that you think would impact the most. Hey, congrats, 37. Come on. I think the button for auto run on my mouse is starting to see some wear and tear. It's probably the most used button at all, so it feels like sometimes it's not really registering when I try to activate it. Tough times. At the same time, it, seeing as nothing else about the mouse is a problem, I'm not really inclined to want to replace it. My scroll wheel feels a bit different, yeah. No. Why would you interrupt me? I'm busy picking herbs. Call pet on scroll back and hunter more. Yeah, exactly. You just very quickly have some very set things that you always do, right? Repetitive actions that just sort of indicate very quickly. Last one. All of a sudden. Sweetness. Hooray. I've tried to bind similar stuff to similar buttons, yeah. How goes with you and all of your various tests of different gold farming techniques? Have you found that there was something that worked better than others? I mean, I know you had a lot of, let's say, indirect success just by fishing left and right, but I have yet to spend much more than 5 minutes total since I started on the server doing anything to try and farm gold. At the same time, I have to fishing mostly, pennies from alchemy. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think I can conclude that I'm definitely not where I would like to be from a what should we call it? From a investment perspective. At the same time, I haven't done anything at all to further it. So it kind of makes sense, right? You don't, no pain, no gain. But yeah. So it's not. I'm still rocking the slow mount on my hunter, things like that. But it hasn't been important enough. So I guess that's what you get. So I live with it. If I wanted it differently, I could always put in the effort, but I guess I'm content enough as it is. Oh, but I do, one of the things I've noticed, just switching topics completely, is my herbalism has fallen behind. So for the content that I'm in, the zones that I'm in, there's so much I'm not able to pick. So and I keep sort of postponing the fact that I should go back to one of the earlier zones and pick the few flowers I need to level up, so that I could, at least take advantage of the flowers that are actually in the zone that I'm in. But I keep postponing it, so at some point on that's gonna come back to bite me. Yeah. So much to do, so little time. Let's see here. Well, no. Surprisingly few quests to turn in compared to what I thought we might have had, but I actually I do have a pair already. I think you actually sent them to me. Yep. I did. Thank you. Those are already in store. They have saved me on a few occasions. There have been a few situations where it has specifically been the thing that made the difference. Yeah, it was. You can see from the name. Boom, boom, boom. Alrighty. Let's see what we can hand in here and get done. Come on. You must choose a reward. I'll grab that cloth instead. See here what we can get done. So is that here's another one of these. Another one of these situations where accept alliance relations, which must be a pre-quest I haven't done. Seeing as I can't grab it. Oh well. Let's skip ahead, see. Okay. Just checking what's here for the foreseeable. Just checking the time I need to log off shortly. So I gotta go there, get the meats, and then I'm going there to turn it in, and then I'm going there. I could probably just maybe squeeze in this part, because then I could get to a place where I could rest up in an inn. Oh, I wonder what I could effectively get here from. What can I get? Nothing very impactful, but still not too shabby. Let's see when we get led back to a trainer next. No, 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 no. Come on. Oh, struggle. Pick up some meats. Come on. At least for once, last time I did this, I remember that there was competition just for the respawns of these. It's like takes forever. It's just nice being able to do a full circuit and get them all in one go. Or I say that now, but hoping. See here if we can. Internal guild error. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Ah, okay. It was just updated but didn't show. Okay. Done and done. Now moving on to the next one. Wait, where was it? It was this one. Ouch. I was actually, see here, was there a... Oh yeah, yes. I'm trying to... Oh, there we go. Alrighty, let's go. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna turn this in. I'm gonna run to Shadowprey Village, and then I'm going to call it a day, at least. Get some stuff done. The thing is, the one change now all of a sudden is from the old house and the old office space that all of a sudden I don't have a window situated where I have any idea of what it's like outside. You know, so it's been raining all morning, but at the same time I'm not able to from here identify if it's still the case. Which means I have to move to find out. It's horrible. We actually, there are actually some cameras installed from the previous owner, but I haven't managed to configure them yet. I haven't managed to set them up for the, you know, to install them to use for my own personal needs. So that's sort of another of the pending issues. Finding out like I mean, it's fairly obvious to find out what kind of a brand it is, but then figuring out, you know, what's the software or the application used, and all that. Yeah, yes, that could work. Yeah. I think we actually, I probably even have an extra monitor or two someplace, so I could just put one of them up as well. But actually, I mean, it's actually a very good point, because one of the other things is that, excuse me, that from here I don't really have any idea of if there's like any visitors showing up, you know, at the front door, because I'm so far removed from it. But having like a situation room camera thing could actually work for that. Would give me an easy way of knowing if there's like a delivery man coming or something else, so I could keep tabs even from here. So it might be a good solution actually to look into getting that solved. Hey, now we get to go to Thunderbluff, so now at least I can train next time before I do anything else. Okay, I'm gonna call it a day for now. Jump off. Hey, awesome pleasure being back, seeing you again, talking to you. Thanks for hanging out as always. It's nice to know that you're still here. I reckon that I'm not sure when this weekend is a bit challenging, I think, but I'm hoping that no later than next week I actually get a chance both to have a yeah, sure. I figure next week I'll have the time to actually try and jump on for another stream during the day, and then also hopefully to try and do like an evening stream for a raid participation, get us back on track We need to pick up things all of a sudden. Need to reassess, reinstill some consistency, get some viewers, all that rolling. Reboot World Domination, see where it takes us. So, wow, boom, boom. That was a lot of. Okay, so let's see here. So, updated all kinds of shenanigans. So, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, but it looks to be working, and has the data from the people who have it installed, of course. So yeah. Yeah. Seems that way, but I mean, yeah, works. Cool. And maybe this one as well. Let's see here. Where did it go? I have to find the. There we go. Ah, okay. Cool. So you can actually even click the things you need. Nice. Super simple, but so convenient. Yeah, but still, I mean, convenient, which is always a good thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with convenient. It's just great. So, yeah, okay. I'm gonna jump off for now. Get a few things done. I might be online later, but I'm not sure if I'll be streaming again. Let's see. But I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for hanging out. As it was truly a pleasure as always. And I hope that we can get back to something more regular soon, because man, I really missed it. And now that the things are working again, it's just fantastic. Yeah, no, thank you. Take care. I will see you later.